The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome, Deadites, to part 8 of What If Deku Wasn't Saved in Time. Last time I left you guys off with a big old Kachiko surprise, but considering that this is a more mellow Katsuki, I think they're a decent match for each other. Oh, poor Mikosa. However will they handle this when they find out? If their animal friends have their say in it, Mikosa won't find out for quite some time. And besides, it would appear that Mikosa's female friends have been vying for their attention anyway. In the past few weeks, they've been going to movies, shopping, at the mall, even just hanging around town. Mikosa even introduced Mina and Tsuyu to a few heroes, including Mount Lady. Mount Lady kind of grated Mikosa's nerves with her arrogance, but let it be. Mikosa was sure that even she knew when there were things far more important than her out there. Truth be told, Mikosa could handle her for their friends' smiling faces. They loved it when their thoughts were in a happy place. It made Mikosa feel really good in turn. Katsuki and Ochako would even come out to join them, always together. Mikosa is far from stupid, so if this keeps up, they'll put 2 and 2 together and get 4. But for now, Mikosa's just assuming that Katsuki was accompanying his female friend in the city to help keep her safe. Mikosa had opened up the gymnasium in their home for everyone to train in, and oh boy, is Ochako getting better at takedowns. Katsuki and the girls see massive gains under their training. And Mikosa and Night Eye are the ones giving said training, obviously. Neither one of which feel like they're showing favoritism since they aren't teachers at UA, and Mikosa merely invited her friends over to quote-unquote play. Training was fun for Mikosa, and they enjoyed themselves. Katsuki had to go all out when Mikosa was serious as well, however. And Mikosa had to make sure not to use their napalm form near him at all. That would not be pleasant. Nope. Nope. Time goes by, and I'm certain you all know what I'm leading to. The USJ. However, let's take a moment to enjoy the daily life of our crew. The girls are getting closer, and Ochako even became Mikosa's friend. Oh, if only they knew. But Mikosa made a point of not probing their friends' minds. So, I'll take you to Katsuki and Ochako having a nice date in the city. They had just gotten out of the theater and were about to grab dinner. Ochako's head lying on Katsuki's shoulder, with her arm wrapped around his, and she was staring at him lovingly. Now this would have been overlooked by the basic passerby, but Tsuyu was in the area with her family, and she spotted this particular sight.
What the? Bakugo and Uraraka? Now it all makes sense, Rabbit.
Tsuyu takes a photo and sends it to Mina.
What do we do about this? Nothing. It's not our business what those two decide to do. Mikosa has feelings for Bakugo, though. Your point is what, exactly? We should be glad he's not in the game. He would have been serious competition for us.
Tsuyu sighs at that text message. She only recently figured out that she liked Mikosa, and when Mina said that she did as well, she was scared that their friendship would be torn apart. But Mina just said something along the lines of,
"Who says Mikosa can't love us both? I have no problem sharing her with you. We should tell them. If we like Mikosa, then we shouldn't use a dirty trick like that on them. It'll only hurt them later on." Ribbit.
She used the frog emoji. Mina had no response. If Mina was the accelerant, then Tsuyu was the brakes.
Damn it, Tsuyu. Let's go on a date with her and tell her how we feel. We can't just flat out tell her that it's not our place and you know it.
This time, Tsuyu was silent. Mina dropped Mikosa a line.
Hey, Mikosa. Wanna go out with me and Tsuyu?
Mikosa paused for a second.
Sure. I'd love to have some fun with my friends.
Mina let out her irritation. All of it. And Mikosa got the picture.
This is a date you're asking me on, isn't it? I don't know how that would...
Inko took the phone from her child.
They'll be there, dear.
With that, Inko hung up.
Stop dwelling on Katsuki. These girls really like you, dear. Give them a chance instead of being afraid of messing things up. Mina has made her feelings for you clear to everyone on multiple occasions. I mean, how many times has that girl been barely clothed when there were no males around? She's been trying to appeal to you, dear, and so has Tsuyu. Give this a chance. Please, I only want you happy.
Mikosa takes a quick second.
Okay, I'll give this a thought.
Inko was happy that her child wasn't stuck pining after a man that would quite frankly never really see them the way they want to. Mikosa looked around in their room and wondered what would be good for a date, really. They settled on their female form since Mina insisted on treating them like a girl anyway. Mikosa focused on making a cute skirt and a frilly top with what appeared to be a jacket. A thought of accessorizing came to Mikosa's mind, but they squashed it. Mina kept saying that they looked good no matter what, so Mikosa thought they'd put it to the test.
Well, don't you look lovely, dear?
Mikosa blushed at Mirai's statement.
You really think so, Mama?
Of course I do, sweet child. Now go on your date.
Mirai thought towards Mikosa, with nothing but the purest love in her heart. Mikosa smiled and summoned Watcher.
Thank you for riding Air Watcher, Mikosa. Please keep your entire being in the ride until we've come to a full stop. Watcher, you were such a dork. Only for you, Mikosa.
Watcher flew fast and true and to get her cargo to their date. She had hoped that if this date went well, then perhaps Mikosa would be less hurt by Katsuki's choice of girlfriend. Watcher finds Mina in town square and makes her approach. Mikosa calls out to Mina and Mina outstretches her hand for Watcher to land on. Watcher perches on said hand ever so gently as if this has been done many times. which of course it kind of has. Suyu isn't really that good at spot landings though, so it's all on Mina. Watcher opens her beak and out goes Mikosa. Passers-by had their mouths agape.
Damn, girl. Looking good.
Mikosa was used to Mina complimenting their looks, but was blushing now that they realized that she was hitting on them. Mina made her way closer and closer to Mikosa, to the point where Mikosa could feel her breath on them, only to receive a wet slap to the face.
Suyu had hit her with her tongue. Behave, Mina. Ribbit. Mikosa isn't used to this, so we have to take it slow. Ribbit.
Words that Mina is not used to hearing or applying. Slow isn't really her style, but when she saw the shade Mikosa was in, she reconsidered her stance on taking things a little slower than usual. But damn did she want that kiss.
Alright, let's have some fun then.
The three of them went around town and had a ball. They hit an arcade that seemed to call to them. Mina made her way to a dance game and was killing it. Mikosa couldn't help but stare as Mina was literally up in there getting it. She was dancing around, shaking that thing, and Mikosa just could not stop staring.
Oh, I guess I can see why boys can't stop looking at her.
Like I said in earlier parts, Mikosa has taste for both genders. They see the attraction to both sides, and at the moment, Mikosa was all on Mina, or more accurately, 70% on Mina. They didn't just flat out ignore Suyu, and went on a ride of a VR roller coaster. They both know that Mikosa split to keep them both happy. Suyu was slightly jealous of how zealously Mikosa was staring at Mina, though. And if she knew the thoughts that were going on in their head, she'd be even more jealous. Mina had the biggest smile on her face when Mikosa joined in, and the two danced to, oddly enough, and I'm not kidding, peace sign. Suyu and the rest of Mikosa got back in time to see the two have a massive amount of fun and embrace in a gooey hug.
Mikosa? I mean, I'm not really easily embarrassed, but people are staring.
Mikosa takes one look at the looky-loos.
Who cares, Mina? I'm just really happy. Thank you both for asking me out.
Mikosa kissed them both on the cheek, and that got a rise out of the both of them. It's a little more innocent than what Mina's used to, but at the same point in time, she liked that. Mikosa sees the ladies to their proper train platforms, and then flies off home with a bit of a beat in her mind. The time for the USJ comes, and everyone gets out of the bus. Mikosa isn't overly excited since they've known 13 on a personal level like they do a good amount of heroes. I mean, they've been, ever since the first hero party, Mikosa hasn't really missed a single one. Mikosa was having a small chat with Shoto on the bus.
So, you think we'll get anything new out of this, Shoto?
You heard that right. Shoto, not Mr. Todoroki. Remember those parties I mentioned? Mikosa was exposed to Shoto quite often, so they were friendly to each other. Shoto liked how competent Mikosa was, but also knew that they were All Might's protege, so eventually they would have to come to blows. That isn't for today, however. Mikosa had a bad feeling about this, and for the life of them, they couldn't tell why. They get out of the bus and 13 does her usual spiel. However, we all know what's going to happen now, don't we? Just before that happens, Mikosa picks up on active hostility and warns Aizawa and 13 of such. They had no idea where it was coming from, but thanks to the warning, they'd at least be somewhat prepared and would be in slightly better shape for most of the fight. Shigaraki arrives on the scene with, let's face it, his pawns and Kurogiri. Aizawa and 13 engage and notice Mikosa getting ready to do the same. Get your classmates to safety, then join us. Mikosa, their safety is the #1 priority. Mikosa follows the order and gathers their classmates. However, Kurogiri wills them all away to random areas within the USJ. I'm not changing the settings here, short of one thing. Tenya doesn't need to run to get help since Mikosa screamed at the top of their mind to All Might and Mirio. The bat signal was up, and considering the changes to All Might in this case, that Nomu is in for some hurt. Everyone is in their hero suits like they should be, really.
We need a plan. We're surrounded by thugs after all.
While Mikosa could just handle this themselves, doing so in that great of a capacity may very well incapacitate them, and they did not want to risk that.
So, here's the plan. I'm splitting off the majority of my mass, and then I'm going to populate as much of the water as I possibly can. Now, since I'm spreading myself that thin for this, it won't be as effective, which is why I'm only splitting about 70% of my mass. The rest of me that's left on me will help with those boats there. We need those thugs in the water. Froppy, you're going to have to get those fools in the water. Miss Minetta, prepare your balls. Also, Froppy, Salty is in there as well, or somewhere around here. If you really need him, cry for him and he'll come.
Aizawa made Mikosa aware of their destination about a week early and asked if a few of their animal friends could be put to use, specifically Hunter and Salty. And considering that, well, Water is always following Mikosa anyway, they'd also put her to use. An eye in the sky always helps. Mikosa checked up on Mina, but she was in good hands. Eraserhead didn't have a problem taking down the cannon fodder, but when a Nomu came in, that was a different story entirely, since we know that these specific batch of Nomu were, well, really made for one reason: to kick All Might's ass. Now, by the way here, Shoji has had some upgrades as well, to his reflexes and eyes specifically. They can remain open for longer without irritation or blinking. Considering the nature of his quirk, I'd assume Eraserhead would always keep at least one eye open on his target. After all, once he became aware of what Mikosa had done to All Might, he asked if they could help him as well. And oh boy, did Mikosa ever help. So, the way this works is Mikosa gave him a nictitating membrane, which is a thin membrane to help retain moisture in the eyes. This membrane tends to open and shut horizontally, so that it's like over the eye. two such creatures with such a thing are crocs and avian species, such as, I don't know, hawks? So it's almost like Mikosa was looking into this from the beginning anyway. So Shoji now has eagle eyes and dark vision to add to his repertoire. He can literally keep his eyes open for hours between blinks now. And since I'm certain I haven't mentioned this, being upgraded by Mikosa has a few extra added perks, such as easier access to them in emergency situations. Kurogiri still managed to get the drop on 13, but this time around, Mina had a passenger on her.
Ryusei! Hold on. I'll do what I can considering how little of me there is here at the moment.
A small pool that is Mikosa split off from Mina and realized that they weren't doing diddly as is.
Shoji, is possible lethal force authorized? I need nutrients to save Ryusei, and you know what that means.
I feel sorry for who you're about to kill to do it. But do it.
Mikosa saw a few severed limbs and just went to town on dissolving those and taking every nutrient in hopes that they didn't have to eat a person. However, it was not enough. Mikosa noticed a dead body and went ham on that. Still not enough, but close.
Frack it.
Mikosa descended on a group of nobodies and ended them. They were now rather large, and Shigaraki notices. What the hell is that? Mikosa was in a blob form at the moment, for ease of devouring.
You'll soon find out. I'll come for you and your toy in a moment.
Mikosa shot off enough to start healing 13. Since her name wasn't really given, I took a liberty and just decided to give her a space-related name. I mean, a meteor is a celestial body, after all, but back to the story, yeah? Mikosa made their way to Shigaraki, but Kurogiri tried to teleport them away again.
Nice try, pal.
Mikosa muddled Kurogiri's thoughts enough that he couldn't focus. I mean, that's a big weakness of line of thought teleportation, after all. Mikosa just shot themselves straight into the Nomu and attempted to find any semblance of a mind. They had nothing, so they just went full on acid and ate it from the inside. Say what you will about the Nomu's healing factors, but yeah, it's not meant to heal from the inside. Kurogiri still couldn't collect his thoughts at the moment, but he was getting more control. Mikosa's rage was growing with each moment. Shigaraki used his quirk in a desperate attempt to end Mikosa. 5 fingers, 10 fingers, but immediately removed them when he realized how stupid that was, and merely got out of there with just minor burns. You can't really decay a giant body of slime now, can you? Shigaraki, I already said that. However, something odd happened to Mikosa. They went from acidic green to pure, translucent black, and a blood-curdling howl could be heard across the entire facility. The other Mikosa was changed as well, but not before.
Get the hell out of the water and as far away from me as you possibly can right now. Salty, I'd hop on a boat and get out too.
They did not need to be told twice, and watched as Mikosa changed into a mindless beast of pure death liquid. For those of you who don't RPG, black slimes are usually insta-death. So those goons in the water, yeah, they bit the big one. Froppy didn't know how to move a ship, but Good thing that a goon she saved did, and they straight up dipped. Screw this. I'm turning over a new leaf. Police Academy, here I come. The guy piloting the ship would be pardoned since he didn't attack anyone, actually. He immediately surrendered. Something odd was happening within the poor murder slime, however. Looks like number 9's lost control after being contaminated with an odd quirk and pure rage. The way they look kind of reminds me of my quirk. Maybe I can help, but I'm gonna need some backup. You sure you can get to them, Banjo? Nana, I'm sure as sugar. I know this is extremely early for this, but this is happening. They reach Mikosa only to find them contained in what appears to be a glass Tupperware. Nana gives Mikosa a big hug, or rather, the Tupperware a big hug that she can't really open, she just tried, when she hears them crying. Hey now, no need for that. Let's get a big old smile on you. Banjo stepped in. Don't be scared, number 9. I'm here to help you control this. Just like how One For All helped you control your body before, it shall do the same here in a different capacity. You're a massive hero nerd, so I'm sure you know who we are. Now, we can't set you free. Only you can do that. You have to fight this and accept the gifts that we give you. Can you do that, number 9?
My name isn't number 9. It's Mikosa.
Ooh, sassy. Sorry, Mikosa. Well then, shout out to the heavens who you are, and fight this before you hurt someone important to you. Now tell me again, who are you? Say it. Don't think it.
I am amoebic hero Mikosa, and I am the 9th heir to One For All. I won't let anything keep me down, and I'll take on any danger with a smile.
Mikosa's prison shatters, and the two hug them.
Well done. Now go get him.
The black puddle of death shot out of the water and straight up flew to the other location and joined into the massive blob, overtaking it before it could harm their friends. As Mikosa whipped a tendril at the remaining Nomu, it was petrified. While black slime can still cause instant death if they want it to, that's just not very heroic thing to do. While Mikosa was turning the remaining goons into petrified messes, Kurogiri regained his composure, grabbed Tomura, and straight up dipped while he was throwing a tantrum. The cavalry arrived to take care of whatever was left, and All Might noticed that Mikosa was a color they've never really been before. But one thought on all the fantasy games he's played made him hesitate.
I'm a good slime, Uncle Toshi. I swear. Uncle Toshi, guess what? I met Miss Nana and Mr. Banjo. They visited me when I lost control and got scared. Look at what I can do now.
All Might was taken by surprise on that one.
Well, I'll be. You can fly now, and I suppose this black form is your black whip of sorts. I've never really heard about this aspect of One For All, truth be told. I suppose it's a result of the power stockpiling for so many generations. Either way, you are in for about 4 more quirks, dear, if I'm to be correct. Be ready for them.
And be ready for them they shall. But that is a story for next time.
If you liked that, let's get a United States smash on that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider going full cowling with that subscribe button. And let's go plus ultra with the notifications. Ring that bell, baby. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.